Hello viewers, a very good afternoon. Maswera sei kumatevimana kwamuri. So today we have a very important issue here with us, and we feel that a lot is happening behind the closed doors here in Zimbabwe, especially during this COVID pandemic. A lot is happening. Some rights are being abused here. Our freedoms are being infringed on. And I feel that we need to talk about these issues. We need to give each other insight about what is happening. So recently, there is news all over saying that Nelson Chamisa has been banned from attending ZEC stakeholder meetings. And we decided to come here and look into the details and say, is it lawful for ZEC to ban Nelson Chamisa? What does the law say? The Constitution, what does the Constitution say about the elections in Zimbabwe, about who should participate in the elections in Zimbabwe, and how are the elections supposed to be participated in Zimbabwe, and how are they supposed to be conducted in Zimbabwe? So does political party names or political parties matter in Zimbabwe for you to be part of the stakeholders of ZEC? So today we want to take this discussion objectively. If you want to be part of this discussion, there's a link in the description box. Please use that link. I will definitely see you here, and I will add you on this platform so that you can give us your views. Also, you can do so using the comment section. In the comment section, you tell us what you think, or you can ask questions in the comment section, then we answer you right here. So feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions here. So this is your platform, and we are here to make sure that your queries are attended to. We are here to give you information about what is happening in Zimbabwe. So for those who have joined us right now, we need to answer questions. Is ZEC not breaching the Constitution by banning Nelson Chamisa from attending the stakeholder meetings? Or what is the position of the law of Zimbabwe on such issue? So number one, we wanted to go and give a definition of stakeholder, a general definition of what is a stakeholder. So a stakeholder is a person with an interest or a concern in something, especially business. A stakeholder is someone with an interest or a concern in something, especially business. That is a stakeholder. So when ZEC says we are holding a stakeholder meeting, it means everyone with interest, everyone with concern with the said meeting should and must participate, so long that person is guided by the laws of Zimbabwe, by the Constitution of Zimbabwe, is allowed by the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which governs ZEC. Everyone who is given a green light by the Constitution of Zimbabwe is a stakeholder to ZEC, because ZEC operates according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. ZEC is established according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. So let's go and check, because it has said a person with an interest or a concern in something, especially business. And let's go to the definition of business. A person's regular occupation, profession, or trade. A person's regular occupation, profession, or trade, which means politicians are stakeholders, and as politicians, they must attend ZEC stakeholder meetings without anybody telling them that you can't be part of this meeting. It does not need one to be a political leader. It does not need one to belong to a political party. It does not need one to be even a politician, to be a stakeholder at ZEC. You might be a citizen. And as a citizen, you have interests. Because when elections are done, we have the candidates. They need to be part of the stakeholders. Secondly, we have the electorate. They have the right to be part of the stakeholders because the electorate can have queries on how elections are conducted. The electorate can actually say, we want to vote someone, so and so, but there are barriers or there are laws which are preventing us from voting the rightful people we want to be in power. So you can actually see it by defining these two things, stakeholders and business. We have actually concluded that everyone and anyone who is a citizen of Zimbabwe, according to Section 1 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, Section 2, Section 2.2, or let's begin by Section 2, which says the Constitution is the supreme law of Zimbabwe, and any law, practice, custom, or conduct inconsistent with it is invalid to the extent of inconsistency. Then we go on to 2.2, which say the obligations imposed by this Constitution are binding on every person, natural or juristic, which means we have natural persons who can attend ZEC stakeholder meetings on their behalf. We have juristic people who can attend ZEC stakeholder meetings on behalf of their jurisdictions. So we need to understand that and see the basis of ZEC denying other political parties or other political people or citizens of Zimbabwe a right to be part of the stakeholders meeting. Which law are they using? You see, so by just learning more about the law itself, we can actually determine whether ZEC is in breach of the Constitution, whether ZEC is in breach of the laws of Zimbabwe. So we have read about the supreme law, and let's go on to section. We have defined the persons here who are being covered by the Constitution, and let's go to the fundamental human rights and freedoms. Section 3.2b. You see, section 3.2b. It is clear. Section 3.2b, item number 2. It talks about free, fair, regular elections. So we cannot have a free elections. We cannot have a fair elections without involving all stakeholders, because according to the definition, any person with a concern. So if Nelson Chamisa feels that he wants to be part of the stakeholder meeting, there is no need for ZEC to invite him. There is no need, according to the law, there is no need for ZEC to invite him because he is a concerned citizen as an individual. So for people who are saying he doesn't have a political party which is registered by ZEC, you are being misled, because any citizen of Zimbabwe with an interest in the issues of to do with elections in Zimbabwe is a stakeholder and can and is allowed by the law to attend the stakeholder meetings. I want to give you an example. There are people like Themba Muliswa, who is an independent candidate. Do we exclude him because he doesn't belong to a political party? There are people who believe or who want to be independent candidates in the future or during the by-elections which are coming. There are people who want to be independent candidates. How is ZEC accommodating such people? So you can actually see that by ZEC saying we invite you to the stakeholder meetings as political parties, they are in breach of the Constitution. Reason being, they are candidates candidates who are supposed to be part of the meeting, but they are being denied a right to be part of those meetings. So Nelson Chamisa might decide in this party to say, we want to go independent. So there's no need for ZEC to say, you can't be part of the stakeholder meeting, which means clearly by working or dealing with these aspects, you can actually see that ZEC is in breach of the constitution of Zimbabwe. It is in breach of the laws of Zimbabwe. Section 155, let's go on and see. Section 155, it says elections must be free and must be fair. So ZEC as an independent body should make sure that they adhere to the principles outlined in section 155.2c. So if we read the Constitution section 155.2c, it is clear. Let us go on to the 155.2c. What does it say? It says ZEC must ensure that all political parties and candidates contesting an election or participating in a referendum have reasonable access to all material and information necessary for them to participate effectively. So according to this issue, ZEC as an entity being guided by the Constitution of Zimbabwe must ensure that all political parties, not only political parties, but candidates. The reason why it is elaborate about candidates, it means it is covering candidates, people who want to be part of the elections. I may be a candidate and not belong to a political party. You may be a candidate and not belong to any political party, which means ZEC must give you an ear. When they are doing consultations with the stakeholders, you must be there, you must attend the meetings. So before we go any further, I don't know if we are together. In the comment section, we want to know if we are together. We want to know if we are going on together. So we want to check whether ZEC is breaching the law or breaching the constitution by banning the outfit led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa to attend ZEC stakeholder meetings. That is our mandate today, and we need to check what does the law say, and so that we come up with a conclusion and see whether ZEC is compromised or not. So we have talked about candidates attending the stakeholder meetings, because you cannot contest in fair election without being allowed to be heard during the consultations, the stakeholder meetings consultations, because we are talking about reforms, we are talking about a lot of things. So if there are things I feel that they need to be reformed, how do I air my views when I don't belong to a political party, but I want to be part of the meetings or the consultations? Which means by any law outside the constitution which ZEC is using, or any directive which ZEC is using, we really we can just agree that ZEC is in breach of section 155.2c. It is in breach of that section. So we are also going to explore more about these issues so that you can understand better. So we are saying ZEC does not have a mandate to invite political parties. They must not invite political parties. Rather, they must invite stakeholders to the meetings. They don't invite political parties, they invite stakeholders. So if they write letters to political parties, they are simply inviting stakeholders registered by them. Then they also give a floor to other people by an advert in the newspapers to say we are going to conduct a consultative meeting with stakeholders. All interested or concerned stakeholders must attend on this day, time, and the venue. That is what they must do if they are to be independent, if they are to follow due process, and if they are to follow the Constitution of Zimbabwe. They must make sure that they invite everybody, all stakeholders, whether you are from a political party, whether you are an individual, you are an independent, so long you have the interests being covered by ZEC, you must attend that meeting, which means ZEC is in breach of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. ZEC is in direct breach of the laws of Zimbabwe. So we need to check on another issue. ZEC has divided political parties. I don't know the criteria they are using, but it shows that they have divided political parties because others attended on the 28th, and we are continuing to see people attending, or political parties attending on different dates. So, which means they have divided political parties to say these political parties will attend on this day, these political parties will attend on this day, these political parties will attend on this day, which is another act of deliberately breaching the Constitution, which calls for fairness. We want consultations, and we want all political parties to be present in the same room. If their venue is small, they need to find bigger venues because the money they are using is paid by the people of Zimbabwe. It's not money from their pocket, it is money from the people of Zimbabwe. So for the people who joined us in our first episode, we talked about the democratic aspect within the Republic of Zimbabwe. And we saw that elections gives the people in authority a mandate. And ZEC gets its mandate from ZEC gets its mandate from the conduct of elections. So by just separating political parties or separating stakeholders with the same interest, it means they are trying to bring manageable stakeholders each and every time. And they are trying to avoid a situation where political parties agree on the same venue. And I would want to ask, why is it that journalists, or for the people who attended on the 28th, there were no journalists, which means journalists not invited to that meeting. It means the journalists as a stakeholder, they completely shut out of the meeting. The arrest of journalists yesterday is another breach of the Constitution of Zimbabwe because journalists are a stakeholder allowed by the law to cover such public meetings, which means the rights of the people are being trampled upon, the rights of the people are being breached each and every time. And nobody is speaking about this or these issues. We need to speak out and point out all these things. So we want a situation where LEAD, MDC, ZANU-PF, Nelson Chamisa, other political parties, APA, the parties led by Nkosana Moyo, we want to see a situation where they all come on board under one roof to deliberate issues, to say we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 issues to be resolved. So ZEC is on record acknowledging that we really need reforms. So how do we reform when you are bringing people in parts, when you are bringing people one? ZANU-PF has been holding meetings where thousands are attending such meetings. It means ZEC can still do that. We have, let's say we have 200 registered political parties. We can find a venue where 200 people can fit in. And each political party brings its own member. According to ZEC, we have around 170 something political parties, which means we can put our maximum number at 250 and give an allowance for other stakeholders to be part of the meeting. We can even put the number up to 300 because we have venues which are big enough to accommodate up to 500 people, up to 1,000 people, and still they exercise social distancing. So ZEC is not paying people who are attending. ZEC is not giving the people who are attending food. ZEC will not pay the media who will come to cover for such. So there is no need for ZEC to deny people access to stakeholder meetings. Stakeholder meetings must be done on a same venue, same time, same date, so that we agree, so that we debate issues. If I don't agree with what MDC is raising, I need to give my own point, and ZEC should take that point. If I disagree with what ZANU-PF is saying, we need to have the same platform, same day. I raise my own points, and they are adopted. That is the dialogue we are all calling upon. That is the discussions we are all calling upon to say we need inclusive discussions. So apart from Pollard, ZEC does have a mandate, does have a constitutional mandate to engage with stakeholders so that we tell ZEC what we want to reform. So we can just see that CSOs were not invited, journalists were not invited, the police was not invited, the Human Rights Commission was not invited. And I can tell you in short, the CSOs does have a mandate, does have a contribution. The police is always accused of infringing the rights of voters, is also always accused of infringing the rights of politicians. We want the police to be represented in such discussions so that we point it out and the police takes notes. We want the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission to be available, because I want to give you an example. ZEC at the previous meeting highlighted that they don't have a mandate to act. For example, in 2018, serial numbers were being collected. And when serial numbers were being collected, people reported and ZEC didn't act. And they actually said it is within the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission jurisdiction to deal with that issue, to make sure that the people, the perpetrators, are brought to book. So where is the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission to answer for those for themselves on that? ZEC is saying it's the mandate of ZHC, and where the ZHC is nowhere to be found. There's no one to answer on behalf of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. There's no one to answer on behalf of the police of Zimbabwe. So how can you say you are conducting a stakeholder meeting when the people who are answerable from various departments, like the registrar's office, must have a representative on that meeting? So when a meeting is being held without those representatives, it means it's a bogus meeting. It means that meeting cannot hold. You cannot hold a meeting without all stakeholders being represented, which means that meeting, the resolutions of that meeting cannot be adopted anyway, because they can be challenged in the court of law with using the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can actually challenge and win the case to say, we were not invited, we were not part of this meeting. So the citizens of Zimbabwe, they need to know what is being discussed, what we are talking about during those stakeholder meetings. So when journalists are not available, it means it's not a stakeholder meeting, because who is going to tell the citizens of Zimbabwe what we are discussing as politicians, as stakeholders? Citizens of Zimbabwe can't come together. But by bringing journalists, you are covering the citizens. You are giving the citizens an opportunity to be part of the stakeholder meeting, and if they have any disagreement with what we are doing, they can actually come and hold us accountable. They can actually come and ask questions. So you can actually see that ZEC is in direct breach of the Constitution. ZEC is taking orders elsewhere. And the question is, who is giving ZEC directives? Who is telling ZEC who to call and who not to call? Instead, because the Constitution, I read the Constitution here. I read the Constitution. Maybe I need to repeat what section 2.1 says. It says, this Constitution is the supreme law of Zimbabwe, and any law, practice, custom, or conduct inconsistent with it is invalid to the extent of the inconsistency, which means the custom of ZEC, which ZEC, or the practice of ZEC of inviting half-baked stakeholders, is inconsistent with the law, which means what ZEC is doing using the resources of this nation is unlawful. The ZEC cannot account or doing acquittals, cannot do acquittals and say, we did a stakeholder meetings and during that meeting we used so much. They cannot do that. Why? They never acted according to the law of Zimbabwe. So it doesn't need me to agree with Nelson Chamisa for me to come out and say what happened to Nelson Chamisa is wrong. It doesn't mean to be in agreement with the ruling party or the opposition or anyone else for me to come out and say what happened to the journalists is not fair. That is a direct breach of the Constitution. That is a direct breach of the Constitution. So, as citizens, I want to assure you this. I want to tell you this. What we are doing is a threat to the government of Zimbabwe. They don't want publicity to happen in Zimbabwe. They don't want information to reach the people of Zimbabwe. But we are going to work hard. We are not going to be silenced. So long we are alive, we are going to come out and point out the inconsistencies. What ZEC is doing, what the government of Zimbabwe is doing, what the institutions in Zimbabwe are doing, they are directly breaching the Constitution of Zimbabwe. The police cannot arrest people who have attended the stakeholders meetings. They can't do that. You cannot deny Nelson Chamisa a chance to be part of the stakeholders meetings. We want Nelson Chamisa to be part. We want Linda Masarira. We want Douglas Monzora. We want Emerson Mnangagwa. We want Ngosana Moyo. We want each and every politician, each and every stakeholders to be part of these discussions. At the end of the day, we don't produce elections which are not free, which are not fair, and elections which are disputed. We don't want to produce elections which are always disputed, which are always labeled unfair, which are always labeled not free. So I don't know. What you think as citizens, in the comment section, please, thank you very much. Let me try to check here. Thank you very much, Pemisani Matema Abi. Thank you very much for getting in touch. Wilson Nyandoro, thank you very much. Gladys Gile, thank you very much. Sange Moyo, thank you very much for getting in touch. And I really appreciate you guys for being part of this discussion. So I believe that you need to share to as many people as possible so that everyone gets informed about what is happening in Zimbabwe. We are going to 2023. And if we don't talk about these issues, we are going to suffer another blow. We need to reach 2023 and contest free, fair, credible, undisputed elections. We want everyone to come up and say, we acknowledge the results of the elections. Indeed, they were free. Indeed, they were fair. So basically, by just going through the constitution of Zimbabwe, like what we did, we can agree that ZEC is in direct breach of the constitution of Zimbabwe. So let's go at section 157, 1D. I want to conclude this. So I want to go on section 157 and check what section 157, 1D says here. It says a system of sorry. Right. 1C. The electoral law is so clear. It is so clear. And if we fail as citizens to deal with such issues, you are going to see that we will end up going down the drain, even failing to come up with important issues here in Zimbabwe. So let me get the correct citation here so that we go together on this issue. Right, it's section 157.3. It says the electoral law must provide for the nomination of candidates in any election to take place at least 14 days after the publication of the proclamation calling for the election. Polling must take place at least 30 days after the nomination of candidates. It talks about candidates, not political parties. It talks about candidates, not political parties, which means candidates. A candidate can be an independent candidate and can be a candidate belonging to a political party. So the constitution here should guide us. And before I go out, we need to check another important issue here, the issue of by-elections. How are by-elections supposed to be conducted? And who calls for the by-elections to be conducted? So you can actually see that here there's an issue of timing of elections. And right now, as it stands in Zimbabwe, the councillors, the MPs, all the recalls which were done, all the vacancies in Zimbabwe, they are long overdue. We are in direct violation of the constitution of Zimbabwe because we have failed to hold the elections. If you go to the electoral law, it is clear about how elections must be done and how proclamation should be done here in Zimbabwe. Section 158.3, it says, polling in by-elections to parliament and the local authority must take place within 90 days after the vacancies occurred, unless the vacancies occur within 9 months before a general election is due to be held, in which event the vacancies may remain unfilled until the general election. So we are right now, as we speak, we are in October. This is 1 October 2021. And the elections will be due, let's say, from June, July 2023, which means we have more than 12 months. We have more than 12 months for elections to be held. Not only 12 months, we have more than 18 months for elections to be held in Zimbabwe. Which means 90 days. Since the recalls happened, 90 days expired a very long time ago. No by-elections are being conducted. So the only way we can go against the constitution of Zimbabwe, we need to go to parliament. We need to go and amend the constitution. I want to give you a practical example. In South Africa, they were supposed to hold elections, council elections. And the EFF started last year. They started calling for the postponement of the elections. And they called the government of South Africa to say, let's amend the constitution so that we postpone the upcoming elections because of COVID. That did not happen. The amendment never happened. That's why you see the elections in South Africa are happening on the 1st of November, according to their constitution. And according to our constitution here in Zimbabwe, the principles are the same. We need to go and amend the constitution to allow the postponement of the elections due to COVID. We need to go to the constitution and amend it. Make sure that we postpone elections because of COVID, which means that the delay being done by the government is unconstitutional. The delay being done by ZEC is unconstitutional because Section 159 is clear. It says whenever a vacancy occurs in any elective public office established in terms of this constitution, not the law, in terms of this constitution, other than an office to which Section 158 applies, the authority charged with organizing elections to that body must cause an election to be held within 90 days to fill the vacancy. So, here, the authority charged with the issue of by-elections is ZEC. And ZEC must exercise its mandate according to 157.3. ZEC is given a mandate by the Constitution of Zimbabwe. And according to 157.3, within 90 days, both the president and the Parliament of Zimbabwe, ZEC, they must cause an election to happen. Which means if we go and check, or like authorities like Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, it is failing to hold all these institutions in terms of their rights. They are failing to hold the government accountable. They failed to hold the Parliament of Zimbabwe accountable. They failed to hold ZEC accountable as well. They are supposed to make sure that the rights of the people are respected. The Constitution is followed. Which means Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, they are just taking salaries home for nothing. They are just spending taxpayers' money for nothing here in Zimbabwe. Or nowhere to be found. Where everyone is quiet. Everyone is silent about all those issues. Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission must make sure that the rights of the people of Zimbabwe enshrined in the Constitution are protected. And they failed their mandate. Which means everyone at the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission is in violation, direct violation of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Everyone in the Parliament of Zimbabwe is in direct violation of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Because Parliament of Zimbabwe is supposed to hold the government accountable, is supposed to hold institutions accountable. They failed in their mandate to hold the institutions accountable. Reason being, they are being controlled elsewhere. The institutions are captured in Zimbabwe. Institutions are captured in Zimbabwe. But here's a difficulty. As a citizen, I don't have a direct access to the Constitutional Court. There are rules which I should follow, which applies in the Constitutional Court. So if I fail to follow such rules in the Constitutional Court, it means my case is not going to hold water within the Constitutional Court, which is a direct breach of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. I must have access to the Constitutional Court. I must be heard by the Constitutional Court. I must be heard. I must not follow any rules except the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Because any rule which is inconsistent to the Constitution of Zimbabwe is invalid. Any practice which is inconsistent with the Constitution of Zimbabwe is invalid. So we must have direct access to the Constitution of Zimbabwe, to the Constitutional Court of Zimbabwe. We must be guided by the Constitution of Zimbabwe. I must go to the Constitutional Court and say there is a direct violation of the law. But because we don't afford lawyers as citizens, as young people, we don't afford lawyers in Zimbabwe. It means we cannot approach the Constitutional Court because we will go with papers in shambles. After going with papers in shambles, we are going to suffer costs. You see, it means our rights, our freedoms, we are being silenced. Because what they will do to make sure that they silence you, they will just dismiss your case with costs. Once they dismiss your case with costs, you are not again going to approach the court again, because the cost will be very, very, very huge. If I'm given $1 million costs, where am I going to get 1 million? If I can't even get 10,000 in a year, 1,000 US dollar, I can't even save 1,000 US dollar in a year. If I'm given a $1 million costs, where am I going to get that money? So you can actually see that the institutions in Zimbabwe are violating the Constitution of Zimbabwe willy-nilly. They are doing what they want. They do what they feel. So you can actually, we can, by denying Nelson Chamisa's political party or political allies or associates to be part of the stakeholders meeting, then violation of the Constitution. By not inviting all stakeholders at one venue, one place, same date, then violation of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. By not making sure that everyone with a concern is part of the stakeholder meeting, they are in direct violation of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. I don't need to support anyone for me to say what I'm saying. I need to be a Zimbabwean. I need to be a citizen of this country. I need to be covered by this Constitution. And I am well covered by the Constitution of Zimbabwe. That is why I am highlighting this. And the question is, where is people like Advocate Professor Madugu? Where is he? Where are people like Douglas Monzora? These are people who claim to be experts. Where are they? They are nowhere to be found. Yet we have a constitutional crisis happening here in Zimbabwe, and nobody seems to care. So who is going to bring the reforms? Because 2023 is fast approaching, and nothing is happening. Nothing at all is happening in Zimbabwe. It's most likely that ZEC is not going to implement any reforms, is not even going to push for any reforms here in Zimbabwe. Which means they are not fair. We are going to the elections which are going to be disputed once again. So you can actually see that in Zimbabwe, there is no fairness described or highlighted in the Constitution of Zimbabwe. For us to have free, fair elections, if I take my case to court disputing an election, I must not be intimidated by the issue of costs. I must not be intimidated by the issue of costs. I must be able to go to the court, to be given a right to answer myself, to answer for myself, a right to defend myself and tell the courts my dispute or my disagreement. Then I must be given the right to interpret the law. The law itself, it says we must have the access to public legal representation. But if I go to Legal Aid Directorate, they tell you to pay a fee. Legal Aid Directorate must represent citizens for free, but they ask you to pay for a fee. So you can actually see the problems we have in Zimbabwe. You can actually agree with me that we are not going to conduct any free and fair elections with such anomalies still in operation here in Zimbabwe. So before we conclude, kindly, let's go Titaure. Please, 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 I need to know your views here. Pepisani Matembo said ZEC is in total breach undermining people's rights. Zvikanzi ZEC ndeye ZANU-PF na Wilson Nyandoro, and I need to agree with that. Zvikanzi it must call all people willing to participate to partake subject in question. Yes, I agree. You cannot just say this is a national issue and you invite one on a national issue. The people who are paying for that event are the citizens of Zimbabwe. So as citizens of Zimbabwe, we are only involved when it's about to pay for the services. When it's about to participate, we are shut out. That is funny. That is funny, we can agree. That is funny. You cannot expect us to pay taxes, but you don't expect us to be part of the stakeholder meeting. That is very funny. So personally, I am calling on ZEC to be professional. I am calling on ZEC to be independent as they claim. I am calling on ZEC to stop whatever they are doing. I am calling on ZEC to say, we really need to follow the Constitution of Zimbabwe. We really need to follow the laws of Zimbabwe. Ngatitaure in the comment section. I need to know your views. We need to share the ideas. If there is somewhere you need to understand, feel free to write on the comment section here, and I will answer the question for you. So I feel that ZEC is in breach of the Constitution by banning other stakeholders to be part of the meeting, by allowing stakeholders to be arrested by the police. They violated the Constitution willfully, which means there is not going to be an aspect of free, fair, credible, undisputed elections in Zimbabwe. That is my take. I don't know what is your take as an individual. What do you think? Are we going to have free, credible, undisputed elections in this nation of Zimbabwe come 2023, when people are getting arrested today? People are just getting arrested because they wanted to attend a stakeholder meeting, which they must be part of according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. So if you go across the Constitution of Zimbabwe, you can actually see that institutions are directly violating the laws of Zimbabwe. They are violating the laws of Zimbabwe. So, number one, by-elections are long overdue, and it's a direct breach of the Constitution. Number two, by shunning out other participants, that is a direct breach of the Constitution. What do you think about those issues? I need to hear from you what you think. If you can write, simply write your comment so that before I sign out, I read the comment here and we address that issue here, right here and now. So you can actually see that we have been promising that we are going to hold our constitutional studies at 9 p.m. each and every day. That is our hope. We want to hold the constitutional studies at 9 p.m. each and every day, such that by the time we reach 2023, everyone, every citizen will be aware of what the Constitution says, will be aware whether his rights are being infringed or not. So please, 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 we want you to be part of this program, and we want your support. We want you to help us share to as many people as possible. Share the links to as many people as possible, be it in WhatsApp groups. Make sure that everyone is informed. So if you take the number on the screen, the number is scrolling on the screen. If you take that number and you write Mukundi, we are going to send you a link so that you join our WhatsApp groups, so that we will be sharing with you the times. Each and every time we go live or we intend to go live, we will be sharing with you, and you will be notified. And then you share the links to various groups. You share the link to various people, be it on Facebook, be it on Twitter, be it on WhatsApp, so that every Zimbabwean who want to be part of the constitutional matters or constitutional discussions takes part of this program, because we need to know the laws, we need to know our rights, we need to know the limitations of the people whom we elected. So before I sign out, I just wanted to read the last thing here, which talks about democracy here in Zimbabwe. So section 1 of the Constitution, I will read this time and again. It says, it talks about the republic. And for it to be the Republic of Zimbabwe, it has to say Zimbabwe is a unitary, a democratic, and a sovereign republic. So for us to say we have a Zimbabwe, it means it needs to be a unit. Zimbabwe as a whole, which is not divided. Number 2, it must be democratic. And that is where we are being guided here. That is why we are here talking about ZEC. Because the democratic, the definition of democratic is, we are talking about form of government in which people choose leaders by voting. That is the definition of democratic. We are talking about a government in which people choose leaders by voting, or a form of government in which common people hold political power and can rule directly through through elected representatives. So for us to talk about democracy in Zimbabwe, we need to talk about people being elected. So ZEC gets its mandate from the issue of people electing people into power. Without elections, there is no ZEC to talk about, which means ZEC is established because of our right to vote. Our right to vote establishes ZEC. So you can actually see the reason why we are talking about this issue. You can actually see the reason why we are saying we as the stakeholders, we need to take part in ZEC meetings. So as Zimbabweans, for us to say we have democracy in Zimbabwe, we must have a freely, fairly, undisputedly elected government in Zimbabwe. Without that, there is no democracy. So by any definition you might think of to say we have our own way of defining democracy, you cannot run away from what I am telling you here. So long the government is not freely elected, the government is not fairly elected, the government is not peacefully elected, the government is not undisputedly elected, it is not a democracy. It is not a democratically elected government. So the constitution here is clear. The people in power right now, they oversaw the construction of this constitution. So they must understand better the contents of the constitution before they act, before they do anything else. ZEC was established under this constitution from 2013. ZEC is operating under this constitution. So as Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, so as all government agencies, they are being guided by this constitution, which means everything which happens must be guided by this constitution. So here today, the conclusion in this matter is that ZEC is in direct violation of the constitution of Zimbabwe. So as I mentioned earlier, for you to be part of these discussions, for you to get notifications, number 1, you need to subscribe. Number 2, you need to turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out each and every time we post an update or we go live. You also need to join our WhatsApp groups. Just send hi to the number appearing, or just say Mukundi to the number appearing on the screen. There's a scrolling bar there. There is a number there. Just say Mukundi to that number, and we will give you a link to join to our WhatsApp group. And then you get notified each and every time we go live. So for this message to reach as many people as possible, you need to share to as many people as possible. That is your mandate as a citizen of Zimbabwe who want change here in Zimbabwe. I want to say these last words. The government which is in power today is outdated in terms of ideas. They no longer have the ideas to run this nation. They are still running this nation using the 1974 ideas. Yet we now need the 2021 going forward ideas. The 40 years and below should be in power here in Zimbabwe. So on this platform, we want to promote young people to go to parliament in 2023. If you want to go to parliament in 2023, we are going to promote you on this platform. We are going to give you a listening ear on this platform. So if you need to talk to people, if you need to campaign on this platform, we are not going to deny you that right. We are going to give you that right. We can even give you 5 hours to explain for yourself here on this platform. We are willing and we are ready to do that, to make sure that we get you covered, to make sure that every young person in Zimbabwe is covered. Because as I mentioned earlier, Zimbabwe right now, the people in power right now, they are more than 48 years backward in terms of policies, in terms of ideas, in terms of how to run Zimbabwe. They are ultimately outdated. So if the people running the country are outdated, what about their ideas? It means they are outdated. What about their behavior? It means it's outdated. So we really, really need new leaders in Zimbabwe. Under 40s must go to parliament. Under 40s must go to the presidency. Under 40s must go to council. So these are the issues we are going to deal with. Here on this platform. So till we meet, you will see that network won't be working here in Zimbabwe, and we will have a problem. So I want to end it here. I am being called elsewhere. There's something waiting for me right away. So before I log out, please ngatiite zvinhu zvatataurana, enda unosubscribe, enda unotora nhamba uye kugroup so that you don't miss out. If you go on Facebook, we have a Facebook page yakanzi Mukundi Africa TV. We are going to also publish, we'll be going live on that page very soon, so that we reach each and every person. Also follow us on a handoff. So I think I have overstayed here, and thank you very much for your support.